Hey, Shalom, Michelle. I want to start off source by giving all praise to Yahweh Hashem, Yahshua, Hashem, Dash. Double honors to the apostles of GMS and honors to you brothers doing the work in truth, war, sincerity. So it's a quick one. This one's on witchcraft, and it is the fear. For instance, I'm from a quote African background, where witchcraft. You saw witchcraft, you heard stories of witchcraft, and you're not like those in the West who mock at the idea of witchcraft, right? No, very much so that it is a real thing, right? And I was with my grandmother not too long ago, and she was basically speaking to someone. She was saying, someone might poison you, someone might do this, someone might do that, right? But that is the fear that comes when really you don't understand the left hand side and the right hand side, right? And you basically have to have an understanding that the right hand side, the side of righteousness, right, is a more powerful than the left hand side, because the left hand side gets its power from the right hand side, right? This is Numbers 23:23 says, surely there is no enchantment against Jacob, neither is there any divination against Israel. According to this time it shall be said of Jacob and of Israel, what hath the Most High wrought? Right, so there ain't no enchantment against Israel, man. Right, look, if you're of the let Lord has a hedge around you, right, and every now and then, just like Job, that hedge will be lowered just a little bit so that Satan can tempt you, so that Satan can try you, right? But what's with that trying process? That trying process is for you to get better. You read that when Zechariah 13:9. Right, you read that in Sirach, the 2nd chapter, right? This idea of being tried in the fire, right, and being renewed, right? But yeah, but most part, Lord protects you against, all of this witchcraft, man, right? People trying to cast spells on you, right? But we're strong through Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, right? It says Psalms 32, right? Not 32. It's 34, isn't it? Not 34:7. Oh, damn it. Right, it says Psalms 34:7. It says, the angel of Yahweh encampeth round about them that fear him and delivereth them. Right? So that's why really, brothers, we ain't really supposed to walk around with a sense of fear. Right? We're supposed to be circumspect. Right? We ain't supposed to walk around with a sense of fear. Right? The understanding is the Lord will protect his men, right? Now, why do I mention, you got to walk around circumspect? Like if you're doing what you're doing, right, and a whole bunch of grimy ass niggas, turn up near where you are. Let's say you're just chilling in the car, and a whole bunch of grimy ass niggas pull up in the car near you. Dip, right? Dip, right? At the end of the day, you can perceive that them niggas are up to no good. So just dip, man. Right? No point putting yourself in a situation, or rather leaving yourself in a situation where you don't have to be in the place, right? This is Ephesians 6:10. It says, finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Right? Put on the whole armor of the Most High. And ultimately, this is what protects us against witchcraft, right? The whole armor of the Most High, right? Which is these scriptures, right? Because these scriptures, they bring comfort, even this understanding that the Lord, will protect you from these demons or from spirits, right? That is comfort, right? It says that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, right, but against principalities, right, and against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places, right? Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of the Most High, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand, stand therefore having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, right? So this is basically going on to the fact that look, our battle isn't against any Edomite or any nigger or whatever, what have you, right? Which is why we've got to remain spiritual, right? Scriptures also talk about the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. Scriptures also talk about that the carnal mind is enmity with the Most High, right? Says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, right? So this is a spiritual fight, right? Because you got these elites, trying to cast spells on brothers, trying to, push demonic vibrations throughout the earth, right? But the Lord will protect his men, all right? And the right hand side is more powerful than the left hand side. The right hand side can't do anything to you lest the Most High sanctioned it. Right, it says Amos 3:6. Right, it says, shall a trumpet be blown in the city, and the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in the city, and the Lord Yahweh hath not done it? Right. So, hey, if you what you call it? If you come home one day and your house is burnt down, that's an evil. That's a bad time, right? What, hath the Lord not done it? Yeah, the Lord hath done it. The Lord, gives, and the Lord takes away. Well, and that's a question that Job asked his woman: shall we receive only a good from the Most High, not evil? This is Job 2:10. Says, 2:9. Start from 9. It says, then said his wife unto him, dost thou still retain thine integrity? Curse the Most High and die. Right, and that's that was basically had a demon on that, man. Right, to make that statement, right? And especially if you're in a low position, man, a woman's supposed to be a help and a comfort. If your woman's trying to tell you that, if you ain't built a certain way, you might give in, right? But he said unto her, thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh. What? Shall we receive good at the hand of the Most High? Shall we not receive evil? In all this did not Job sin with his lips? Right? Then jump back to verse 1. Right? It says, now, Job 1:6 says, now there was a day when the sons of the Most High came to present themselves before Yahweh, and Satan came also among them. And Yahweh said unto Satan, whence comest thou? Then Satan answered Yahweh and said, from going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down it. Right? It says, and Yahweh said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feareth the Most High, and escheweth evil. Then Satan answered Yahweh and said, doth Job fear the Most High for naught? Right? Hast not thou made an hedge about him, and about his house, and about all that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. But put forth thine hand now, and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. And Yahweh said unto Satan, behold, all that he hath is in thy power. Only upon himself put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of Yahweh. All right. So basically what the Lord was saying is like, look, man, all right, cool. I'm going to remove a hedge, right, from everything else that he has. But I'm going to keep a hedge on Job himself, right? And guess what happened? Satan, he took out his children, his substance or whatever, what have you, right? But Job's life was spared, right? Because the Lord put a hedge around Job that his life was able to be spared. Because the Most High is the one that determines what happens to any individual, right? It says 1 Samuel 28:7 says, then said Saul unto his servant, seek me a woman that hath a familiar spirit, right? Basically a woman that is a witch, right? That I may go to her and inquire of her. And the servant said unto him, said to him, behold, there is a woman that hath a familiar spirit at Endor, right? So there is a witch at Endor, right? Basically he's going in, and these scriptures prove that these things are real. Once again, you've got the lower level peons in this world, right, that will scoff at the idea of witches and witchcraft, right? But they don't have, they're nobodies, right? Because when right, when you, for instance, you've experienced it, you've seen it, right? Witchcraft is very real, and this is a real example, real account of it happening here in the scriptures. Right, it says, and Saul disguised himself and put on other raiment, and he went, and 2 men with him. And they came to the woman by night, and he said, I pray thee, divine unto me by the familiar spirit, and bring me him up, whom I shall name unto thee. Right, it says, and the woman said unto him, behold, thou knowest what Saul hath done. Right, so she doesn't know at this point that it's King Saul that's gone and spoken to her, how he hath cut off those that have familiar spirits, right, and the wizards, right, it's out of the land. Right, so basically you ain't supposed to tolerate witches, and we go and get that in the next scripture, witches and warlocks, right? It says, wherefore thou layest thou a snare for my life to cause me to die. Right? It says, and Saul swear to her by Yahweh. So which goes, you got the Psalm in Psalms 51 and 11, verse 11, take not thy Holy Spirit from me, right? Because this is how hurt Saul was, right? That the fact that one, he's the one that banished the witches. Now he's coming back to basically, plead of the witch, and then he's swearing by Yahweh, right? It says, and Saul sware to her by Yahweh, saying, as Yahweh liveth, there shall no punishment happen to thee for this thing. Right? Then said the woman, whom shall I bring up unto thee? And he said, bring me up Samuel. Right? It says, and when the woman saw Samuel, she cried with a loud voice. And the woman spake to Saul, saying, why hast thou deceived me? For thou art Saul. Right? It says, and the king said unto her, be not afraid, for what sawest thou? And the woman said unto Saul, I saw gods ascending out of the earth. And he said unto her, what form is he of? Right? And he said, and she said, an old man cometh up, and he is covered with a mantle. And Saul perceived that it was Samuel, and he stooped with his face to the ground and bowed himself. Right? So basically, this was a powerful witch. Right? She was able to, converse with spirits or whatever, what have you. Right? It says verse 15, it says, and Samuel said to Saul, why hast thou disquieted me to bring me up? And Saul answered, I am sore distressed, for the Philistines make war against me, and the Most High has departed from me, and answereth me no more. Right? Neither by prophets, nor by dreams, therefore have I called thee, that thou mayest make known unto me what I shall do. Right? In fact, what Saul's about to say is a cut to say Esau. We're going to get that in the last scripture as well. Right? It says, then said Samuel, wherefore then dost thou ask of me, seeing Yahweh is departed from thee and is become thine enemy? Right? He's thinking that, he can circumvent the Most High. Right? So that's what Saul was thinking, that he could circumvent the Most High. But you can't do anything lest the power be given you from the Most High. Right? Just like how these demons can't do anything despite except that they be given power from the Most High, right? In fact, let me get that real quick. It says Sirach 18 and 3, who governeth the world with the palm of his hand, and all things, spirits, demons, right, obey his will, right? For he is the king of all, by his power dividing holy things among them from profane, right? And in fact, we'll also get Sirach 39, and we'll start from verse 28, right? It says, there be spirits that are created for vengeance, right? So the Lord created the demons, right, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. Right, in the time of destruction, they pour out their force. Right, so they've got a time when they can act upon the earth. Right, they've got a time when when the Lord has said, yeah, you can go do X, Y, Z. Right, says, and appease the wrath of him that made them. Right, so a fire, a devastating fire, a devastating flood, a devastating lightning strike. Right, the Lord is the one that created all of them. Right. And when they are out upon the earth, the Lord is using that particular spirit, right, to bring out his judgment, right? It says, fire and hell and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance, teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents, and the sword, punishing the wicked to destruction, right? They shall rejoice in his commandment, and they shall be ready upon the earth when need is. But when their time is come, they shall not transgress his word. Right. So when you got all of these different spirits, right, the Lord might put a spirit on an animal, right, to tear a man apart, right? That animal was doing what he was told. Right, just like how what you call it, if any, witch, let's say a witch, well, the Lord is the one that put it in that witch's spirit to try and curse you anyway. Right? But as we read, there is no enchantment against Israel, man. Right? And the angel of the Lord encampeth round about them that fear him. Right? The only time in this truth that things will happen to you if you're the elect is for you to be tried and for you to grow in the faith and to grow in the spirit. Because ultimately they shall not transgress his word. Right? So Lord is in full control of this story, right? Full control of this story. Yeah. It says Ezekiel 22:18, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. Right, and that's playing into the point. Right, witch is supposed to be put to death. So, but you get certain people that will be just called, it's just, it's spiritualism, right? African spiritualism. Nah, it's witchcraft, man. Right, and that has to be put down. That you have to be dealt with. Obviously, not in this world. In this world, this is Esau's kingdom, right? And Esau himself is a witch, right? He's all about that witchcraft and putting witchcraft upon the people. Just watch any Netflix a TV show that ain't like a documentary. We're all up in that TV show. All you see is witchcraft, man, right? It's Isaiah 47:12. Stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be thou shalt be able to profit, if so be thou mayest prevail. Right now, those in chart is talking to Esau, the so-called white man. Right, it's to stand now down in chance, all and multitude, and with the multitude of that sorcery. Right, so all of your witches and your warlocks, right, stand with them, see if they go and protect you. Right, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. That's talking about the fact that this witchcraft has been from America's inception. Right, and Babylon the Great. That is it's been, that's how they built up with witchcraft. Right. It says, if so be thou shalt be able to profit, if so be thou mayest prevail, right? It says, thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. Right? And yeah, they won't be able to, right? They won't be able to, because at the end of the day, the Lord has willed it, that America and Esau's kingdom as a whole shall be destroyed, and that the kingdom of Israel shall be raised up. Right? This is the last captivity that we're in, right? But yeah, that's it. That's just a quick one that I wanted to do on witchcraft, right? Because look, man, the Lord's in control of this game, and ain't no witchcraft. If you see a guy trying to cast a spell on you, man, you just laugh at that guy. He's like, "What are you doing?" Right? You laughing. It's like, "What are you doing, man?" Right? Don't you know that the right hand side is more powerful than the left hand side? You can't fear that, right? Our power. Our power has got us, man. Right? So yeah, as always, Lord's will, that was edifying. Till the next time. Shalom.